Hi friends, welcome to Rita's Paper Motif. Today I want to make a card with you, but before I do that, I really want to show you some of the things that we've been creating here in the studio this week. So before we get started, let me introduce myself. I'm Rita from Rita's Paper Motif. I like to create card designs, scrapbook pages, and 3D projects. I like to share them with you in hopes it'll inspire you to create and share with those that you love and that matter in your life. So I did want to just share with you also that any of the things that you see today will eventually be on my blog at ritaspapermotif.com. There you can get measurements, you can get usually a video I attach so that you can see how I make those things. But some of them don't have a video, but hopefully you can understand from my directions how that project was created. So the website is a great place to begin, and you can also follow me here on Facebook as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now I like to keep it kind of short and sweet here on Facebook because there's a whole different kind of algorithm that goes along with Facebook, and also I create all the time. That's my job. That's what I do. So I don't want it to become too spammy. So I really encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to check my blog quite often. All right, as you know, I have an event going on. It's called Christmas Cards the Easy Way. The whole idea behind this event is to help you to organize your time. And because I know you're busy, I mean, some of you work, you have families, you can't devote several days, all day long to creating your Christmas cards. So with this organizational system, you can take 12 weeks to create your Christmas cards, and you will have them ready to go into the mail on December 1st. So I've already shared with you this organizer, but we also did talk in the beginning about how many cards I want to create and how many cards I'll need to make each week so that I can get to that goal. Now my goal was 75 to 100 A2 size cards, and I figured that I need to make between 18 and 20 cards a week to get to that goal. And so I've housed all my designs and everything so far that are in my book so I can keep track, and also of the supplies that I use, so that's all listed. But what I wanted to show you today was my work log. So last week, I'm sorry I keep clearing my throat, I think I have a frog. So last week was September 1st through the 6th. Actually, it was a week before last. So I did go back at the end of the week and fill out my Christmas card progress log, but I am going to edit this because there are some things in this log that I don't find are very useful for me. So I'm going to work on it. But I did just spend like Monday doing my stamping and cutting, and I did that this week as well. So usually the first day of the week I'm stamping and I'm cutting, and then I'll throw in a scrapbook page, hopefully on Monday. And I did that this week and last week, and I want to show you that scrapbook page, and I want to tell you a little bit about it. So here is the scrapbook page. Guess I need to move this, don't I? All right, so here is, it's a 2-page layout. I want to tell you how it came to be. So one of the things I do before I make my Christmas cards is I go look at some decor videos and see what the going theme is going to be for that particular year. I like to look at that. I can't remember her first name, but her last name is Robinson. I just really like to watch her channel. I think she's got some great home decor videos. So I watch her, and I watched another one. And then also, if you take a trip to Hobby Lobby or some of these big box stores, you know what they have on the shelf is what they anticipate is going to sell that year. So they've already done their research. So you know what? I like to try to work smarter, not harder, because It's just a thing with me. So going there and looking at what's on the shelves at Hobby Lobby really does give a clue. So what is really a big thing that I'm probably not a huge fan of is the sweets. So the sweets are all a thing about decorating for Christmas. These colors I feel like are more Easter colors or candy colors. So it's not something that I'm going to decorate my house with, but it's definitely, you know, there are some people, obviously there's a lot of people that will do it because Hobby Lobby is selling those decorations, and I'm sure that the shelves will be bare soon. So pinks and pastels and sweets. And when I say pinks, it's different shades of pinks as well. So I just went ahead and created this scrapbook page. This is my granddaughter and I. We were making some French macarons, and so I just took some pictures while we were doing that. And I decided that last week, I decided to take those pictures and make some scrapbook pages. Now, one of the things I like to do for Christmas is I like to make scrapbooks, and I like to give them as gifts. So this is going to go in a scrapbook. And I don't always do my scrapbook pages in chronological order. So, you know, that's kind of a thing. So anyway, these are some pictures that we took the time that we were making the French macarons, and I just did a spread. So I used the pastel colors. I used my Cricut Joy, my Cricut Joy, to do some of the words and titles. And so there's that. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on that, but there we go. And so I did that on this last Monday is when I did that. And the Monday before, I already showed you that scrapbook page. It was the gingerbread page. But it's consistent, and this is helpful for me when I redo this page for next week, this coming week, is that it looks like Monday is my stamping and cutting scrapbook page. I think I only have one more page to do, so maybe I'll spread it out, but I do that all on Monday. And also Monday is a day that I personally will answer emails and do any kind of phone calling or anything that I need to do. So Monday I don't have a special time. I did put 12 to 3 as far as start time, but I'm not sure that that's accurate. In any case, I'm not sure that the time, I'm not sure how accurate that needs to be. And this also doesn't give me a good way to even document that. But anyway, and then on Tuesdays I usually do my die cutting and scoring, and this is also a day that I did my gift card holders and tags, and I did 20 cards that first week. But I also will talk about the supplies, and I list down here everything that I made that week. So I made 20 cards, 2 scrapbook pages, 3 gift box, and 2 gift card holders. So this past week, what I made was 40 cards. No, that's total 40 cards. I'm sorry, I made 22 cards, and I used Festive Friends. I used all of this different product, and I made 3 scrapbook pages, 3 gift card holders, 2 mini notebooks, 2 stocking boxes, and 2 gift boxes. So on my notes, I said if I was doing this in a 12-week period, I certainly wouldn't have to do any more than 9 cards per week. So I must have been feeling some pressure. But this week was very busy. I had all kinds of appointments. I taught a couple of adult classes. So my time was pretty scarce. But let's look and see what I did make. Now I'm going to show you what I made, all of the things I made, because I don't want to make each one of those every day to show you. I feel like it might get too spammy here on Facebook. So let me just show you what I made, and then we're going to make a card together. So I did make this little gift card holder, and this is called a pop-up gift card holder. So the gift card sits right in here, and this leaves a lot of room for decoration here and a message here. So this is out of pool party, and this was the Snow Days scrapbooking workshop kit. So it's a good way to use up scraps, a really good way, and a good way to house those gift cards. And then this part of the little button here, it came from the Snow Days. They were snow globes. It's part of it was a whole sheet of snow globes. So that was kind of fun to use. And then I also did this is a gift card holder, and I used again those globes. This is the belly band. This is out of Night and Navy, but you could definitely use Misty Moonlight. And then this designer series paper is from the Traditions of Christmas. And so here's where the gift card sits. And it's just very simple. You can write your message on the back, on that white part in the back. And then the gift card, the belly band just keeps it close. So these are great because you can stick them in an envelope, or you could put them in a stocking, however it might work for you. So I want to share those with you. I also wanted to share these mini notepads. And so again, I think I did a video on them, but I don't remember if I put it on Facebook or just YouTube. But these pens I got from Amazon, so you can get them wherever. And then these are very simple to make. I have this closed with Velcro. And so there's the notepad as well. Now you can get these notepads from Walmart as well. So, you know, it just depends on what you want to do. But here's two different versions. So I made those as well. I do believe this is up on the blog because I made it before with a different theme. It wasn't Christmas themed. All right, let's keep going. So I also had a bunch of tags that last year or maybe a couple years ago, they came in a kit and I hadn't finished them. So I kind of stored everything in this little bag. And then when I was looking, because I'm redoing my studio, so I found these and I thought, oh my gosh, I need to get them done. And so I'm just going to flip through and show you some of them. So these colors, this is soft succulent. It's not even currant anymore. But my point is don't overlook those kits because they're all inclusive and all the supplies that you need are in the kit. So if you're looking for something quick and easy and you're trying to hit that goal before December 1st, right? So this is an easy way to do it. And so all I needed to do were like put these end parts like the ephemera on there. And so that's what I did. The other thing that's kind of neat is, I tell you what, these this twine sometimes is an issue, right? Because they all get tangled up. So I lost my point of thought struggling with that twine. But so really all I did was just put these together. And so here you go. They also go with that pink theme. So that's an easy way to get my pink theme in, right? All right. So don't overlook those kits. That's the moral of that story. And then let's look at some gift containers I have. So this is brand new. It hasn't even gone on the blog yet. This idea was suggested by this lady named Amori. So her last part of her handle is Amori. I don't remember the first, and I don't remember what she called it, but I'm calling it Rudolph, the Rudolph gift box. And the directions will be on the blog. I am behind on my blog, so it'll be a couple of days, but this is a nice size. It could hold a gift card. It could hold one of those Reese's peanut butter bars. It could hold those little compacts for our blush and eyeshadow. So that as well. This is great for a stocking stuffer. And then let's bring in the next item. And that is this little Santa bag. I don't believe this is on the blog either. I just did this, I think, on Thursday. But this is a great little box. You can make it look like a Santa. It has the little handles. You can make it look like an elf or even a snowman. and then you can put your treats inside. So I like to use these mints because they're individually covered, and also because I never know, it's too hard to keep up. I can barely keep up with my own allergies. So I know that some people cannot have peanuts or peanut products. I know some are gluten-free. So you know what? These are fairly safe in my estimation. So a lot of times I like to use these if I'm going to use candy, unless I know specifically that that person can have other things. So this will be on the blog, so if you think you're interested, you definitely want to check. All right, let's also look at a couple of things. Now, I do believe I put this on a picture of this here on Facebook, but here are these little stocking gift boxes, and so they're very easy to make, very easy. You could just whip one out. I would say you could whip one out easily in an hour, and then you can put, this is just a little lotion container, and it fits perfectly in there. You could put candy canes in here. You could put just about anything that would fit in that little square box. So the box itself is about 1 inch square, and then of course it's let's see how tall it is. It's about 4.5 inches tall. So whatever would fit in there, you definitely can put in there. But these are super cute, and they stand up, so you could use them as decorations, maybe on your mantle or wherever. So this was cute. I enjoyed making them. I'll enjoy giving them. And then let's start moving on with our cards now. Now, I'm just going to show these to you because I realized that if I did a video on how, or even a long description on how I made each one of these, it would take a long time. So my suggestion is, if you like it, make a note and go to the website, and you'll be able to find the directions, and also probably a YouTube video. Just keep in mind that I am behind, but I will catch up. So I made, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these cards, and they're pretty basic. I used the Festive Friends. I'll tell you what I used so you'll know. I used the Festive Friends dies on these. So let's take a look. Here we go. So this is that tree die on Festive Friends. And one of the things is that the inside, once you die cut this, the inside comes out. So I just used like the inside that was here, I put over on this tree, and then this inside I put on this tree. So just so it could have some different color. And here's my pink theme, right? So I did take my blending brushes and I just blended a little pink ink on this white so it's not so stark white. And I also didn't have some designer series paper that was Christmassy that had the pink theme. So I created my own. I used this little snowflake stamp, and I stamped a layer of basic white with the Pretty in Pink, Berry Burst, and Bubble Bath. So it gave me that designer series paper look. And then I just used, you can use the iridescent gems, or if you have anything in your stash, you can use. And I did layer that white on black. Now, I'm not fond, well, I'm going to be careful when I say this, but normally I won't use a black with a Christmas card as far as cardstock, but I did need something to make this pop, and it was getting to be a little bit too much of the pink. And then also for this star, I used this die from the Festive Friends, but this inside part punches out, and I used it on this as the star. So 5 of those, and then also I have that ribbon that is the, it's called gold stemmed ribbon, and so I used that right here for the bow. So 5 of these, so that's good, right? Now again, you can see how I made them on the blog. And then I was busy and I started, I kept within that pink theme, and I used the Jar of Joy. And so let's just quickly refer to that. Now I've used this before, but I used the gingerbread and the snowman. This time I used the decorations right here. And when I first did this, I thought, well, that's cute. And just on this layer of white, it was like lonely. So I just stamped another jar and put another message in it. And then pretty much this is the same as those trees with the blended background and the stamped snowflake part. And then on the inside, I want to tell you a little about the inside. So this is a basic white, and I used the textured note dies to just give it some texture and interest. And then there's that snowflake stamp right there. And so that's how I created these. And let's see, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all together now I have 10 cards. And when I was prepping, I was really kind of prepping multiple for 2 cards actually. And then I thought, well, you know, I want to do something different because I really love that tradition of Christmas designer series paper. So I created this card. So this card is using that cherry cobbler and this stamp from, I love some of our sentiments that we have available to us. Let me see, I need to find that. Okay, so it's Words of the Season. So that's what I stamped on the inside. And then the Merry Christmas, these are dies that we now have that are Christmas words. One thing I want to say is that the Merry Christmas is kind of a longer sentiment. So you really need to position it where you have some room. And the M and the C are not connected to those words, so you have to think about that too. But I'll give you a little tip. I really do like using my T-square T-ruler because it helps me to keep things lined up. And I also, adhesive on thin letters like that can get messy. So I used my adhesive sheets on the back and then die cut out the sentiment. And so I didn't even have to use adhesive to adhere it down. But then this is part of that Traditions of Christmas Designer Series paper, and I want to show that to you. So let's see here. So I'm looking for that particular sheet of paper that I want to show to you. Let me see here. I will find it. I definitely will find it. Here it is. So there is a die that will cut out this spray, and that is with right here. It will cut out this whole spray, and so what happens is when you do that, you can just die cut these, and it's less work for you, right? So anyway, so I did that, and then this is from those Christmas greenery die set, and then this is part of that designer series paper that comes from the tradition of Christmas. So you'll see the beautiful blooms on one side and the cherry cobbler and a little print on the other side. So that's what I used. And then you see where the sentiment sits. That is using the Everyday Arches with some gold foil and some basic white. So those are the Everyday Arches. And here is the foil. And so I don't mind using the gold foil. That's what these Christmas cards are kind of special for me. So anyway, that's how that was created. And on the inside is just the sentiment. So there we go. And you can see the texture right here. We're going to talk about that with another card because it's easier to see it on this next card that I'm going to show you. So here's that texture that I was talking about, and that comes from using our pressed flower, I'm sorry, wrong. It is our traditional Wreath 3D embossing folder. And so it's really, if you had a 6x6 piece of paper, you would get this full wreath. But this is an A2 size, so I'm not going to be able to get that. But what I did was I positioned my paper because I have more of the top up here and less here on this paper, and that is because I wanted to put my sentiment there, so I think it's not as obvious, but you still get that beautiful texture, and it's so wonderful on here. So Merry Christmas is a die cut again, just like this one, but this is out of cherry cobbler. And then this is the spray, a different spray that is part of that designer series paper. And so I just used the die to cut it out, so it cuts out those bouquets, and I'll show you that paper. It's right here. So if you lay your die, it's this die right here. If you lay it down here, you can cut out that spray or any one of those sprays and use it. And what I do is, you know that Stampin' Up! Now is going to be packaging their dies and stamps differently. So they're not using these DVD containers anymore. So when I did all my die cutting, I just cut these out. And I knew that I wanted a little bit of dimension, but because it's on some really textured layer, I kind of felt like dimensionals would give it too much dimension, but I definitely wanted it to be secure on that paper. So what I did is, in addition to cutting out the bouquet, I cut out just out of basic white, and then you can glue them together, and that gives you a little more, it gives you dimension and a little more stability so that you can put your adhesive, you don't have to, you know, it's easier to put your adhesive, and then you can just glue it down. And then I just store them here so they're ready to go when I need them. This is one of those, they're called foil frames. They're in the catalog. They come with the foil blooms. They come with the impressions of blooms, is what I'm trying to say. And so you can see that there's quite a few of them. And so that's what I used this for. And you'll see that there's so many options. So there's a little circle with the gold, and then this would be just like there is here. You can see there's 3 different layers, right? And so that's what that was. While I was die cutting out the foil, I'll just tell you so I don't have to get it out again, I did go ahead and use the Everyday Arches, and I created a frame and put it on some basic white. And so those would be available to use just like this one. And so that's how I created that card. And then I took some more of that designer series paper and fussy cut it. And now I have something to decorate the inside. So there's that. And here's another one with that beautiful embossed layer. And then of course I used some of the holly dies to cut out the holly and the berries, and another one of those circles. Now you can see this circle was inside that circle, so I used a whole circle on 2 cards. All right, so we had how many, 20 cards already did we have? I don't remember how many cards, but here are 3 more, and I'm sorry, there's even more than that. Here's another one that I just used that same spray. I actually kind of doubled up, and here's that greenery thing, and here's a different foil frame. And then this is I just love these dies because they all cut out the greetings here. So I stamped Season's Greetings. I stamped this in real red, and then I did some clear embossing on top of it. And then I just got out my heat gun and I embossed that sentiment. So it really does stand out, and it gives it some sparkle and some texture. So there's that. So there's, let's see that. We'll kind of move some of this out of the way. So that is it as far as all of those cards. So let's move those out of the way because I have just a few more, and then we're going to make a card. So here's a nice fun fold, and I did use the Traditions of Christmas cardstock as well as Old Olive, and here's another one of those sprays. Here's some gold foil. As you all know, I love this bow punch, and so I did this in the gold, and then this is just a die I had, and there's another one of those sentiments from the traditional labels, and you can just see that I did kind of different. I sometimes will mask off different things so that I can get what I want from there. So there's that, and then there we go. And these parts of the foil, I'll tell you that when I'm die cutting, so when I did some of those trees and the stars, some of the insides would come out right. Well, I save all these little pieces because it's gold foil, and it really does like decorate your card. And so that's what this is. So here's a fun fold. And here's another fun fold. Now this came from, I want to say Lisa Curcio or Connie Stewart. And I did adhere this down, but if you don't adhere it down, it's a pop-up, right? But I wanted it to, I have some glue dots here. I wanted it to, the snowman to be against that snowy background. But when they show you their video, this is standing up. So anyway, this will also be on the blog, so you can definitely see how I did that. This is from one of our die cuts. And then you see these little stars? They're from a jelly pen. So this can be one of your best friends for a lot of things. But that's how that works. And I did color the snowman using our Stampin' Right markers. Now they are phased out, but if you have a set of them, you might as well use them, and those are great. You could also use the Stampin' Blends if you wanted to. So, and this is the paper from the Traditions of Christmas, and another Merry and Bright. Merry, where is it? Merry and Bright. And then I just used the dies on the back to cut that out. And here's some of that ribbon. Now this ribbon I've had for a while. It is still in the catalog. I'm not super fond of it because it's heavy and it doesn't tie bows very well for me, but it worked here. So anyway, there's that. And it is a different size, right? But it fits in a medium envelope, and that's for sure. So you can just fit it that way. All right, so this last card, I'm going to want to make a card with you that looks like this. We're going to change it up a little, but so sorry about this. But what I like about this is a belly band that holds it together, and it features that beautiful designer series paper that comes in the Traditions of Christmas. Now, there's a couple of those that I think are beautiful. This is one sheet of that, so it has your real red, your cherry cobbler, and some pink. On the opposite side, it has the green. Now, you might recognize that in that fun fold, right? That's what we used right here in the fun fold. But you can just cut out a square, and we're going to do the measurements in a minute. So you'll see what that is. I'm so sorry, I have to clear my throat. This is another piece of that designer series paper, and I love it. Now, I'm not fond of using dark colors for Christmas, because for me, Christmas is joyous. But I've learned over the times that black or dark colors, if you do them up right, can be very pretty, right? And again, if we want to relate to others, we have to kind of, there's some things that we have to be cognizant of, right? And so I just think this is pretty, is what I'm trying to say. And poinsettias are a traditional theme. And so I just wanted to feature that designer series paper. And then there's the inside of that card. So we're going to make a card like this today. And I did use vellum for the belly band. We don't currently have vellum in our catalog, but you can definitely get some. Well, if you want vellum, just let me know, and I'll turn you on to some. So let me just put that up there. Let's go ahead and make our card today. So we're going to begin with a piece, and I'm using basic white, but you can make this your own, of 3 7/8 by 7 3/4, and we're going to score it at 3 7/8, or you can just fold it in half. You're going to need a piece of cardstock that is a 4 1/8 squared. Now this is going to be the very back of our card base, and I am using Secret Sea because Secret Sea is one of the coordinating colors in this designer series paper, which is what we're going to use on the front of our card. So this needs to be 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. We're also going to use some gold. Now these squares are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and we're going to score one. I want to score one with you. I have to be very careful with this gold because it picks up anything, and then it just kind of stains your cardstock. But we're going to, let me see here, we're going to put this in our trimmer, and we want the tip of one end and the tip of the opposite end right there in that guide, because we're going to be scoring this diagonally. Now I can see the tip there, and I can see the tip here. Here's our scoring blade. You're going to want to go up a couple of times because this foil is very thick and sturdy. So now we have our foil line, and I have already made the belly band. So here is the belly band. I stamped Merry Christmas. I put it in my positioner, stamp positioner, and lined it up, and it's 2 different stamps. And then I cut out some of that designer series paper to embellish this with. But let's go ahead and make our card. So let's begin folding this card, this part of the card. This is the card base, and we're going to go ahead and fold it and score it. Okay, and then we're going to take this piece of designer series paper that is 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, and you want to figure how you want it is squared, so it doesn't really matter unless you want, you know, maybe you want to see it in a different light. So whatever works for you. I want this flower to be going up. It kind of seems to me like that might be the direction. And then I'm going to take my adhesive, and I probably should use my acrylic. I'm not going to dig for it. My craft sheet, because the glue won't stick. We're just to the craft sheet, silicone craft sheet. Gosh, I might be losing it. Sorry. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and put this on here, and we want to get it flush with all the corners. So let's see here. I don't want to see any white, and I see some white, so let's move it up. Okay, let's see here. Quick tip, if you start at the top and cover up that white, if you had to, you could see there's some white there. That means for some reason maybe I didn't cut a layer right or something. So let's just go ahead and trim that right now. Whoa. Let's go ahead and trim this off right now. Okay, now it is perfect. And then let's go ahead and work on these. Now we want to fold these in half. And I want to make sure there's nothing on here because, again, this will pick up every little thing. Where's my other one? We'll go ahead and fold this too. Now these were, remember, were 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 scored on the diagonal. And you could use any color. I'm just using gold. One of the things you want to remember about this gold is it's kind of heavy. So it's going to put some heaviness to your card. So let's go ahead and put some adhesive. And I am using this Stamp and Seal today. I'm not using the glue here because I don't want this to ooze, and then just because the foil picks everything up. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that. And then let's do the same with this. You could use tear and tape, you could use glue. When you're doing this yourself, you can get down close and personal maybe and have a little more control. But you don't want this sticking out, this sticking up here. So it's good to get close to it. So we're going to go ahead and secure that. Now, you see how beautiful it is? We need to cover that back though. So that's what we're using this 4 1/8 for. And let's just go ahead and this I am going to use glue though, because we have a lot of layers that we're adhering. We're the gold and the basic white, and we just really want to secure that. So let's go ahead, and then I'm going to have a little bit of a margin all the way around. So let's just do this. Let's see here. Okay, and I want to be careful because remember I told you that that foil will pick up all the glue, and I have a little bit of glue on my fingers, so I don't want to touch that foil because I don't want to get glue on it. So now would be a good time to wash your hands. So anyway, so you would stamp the inside with whatever message you want. And then here's our belly band that I've already created, and we'll just put it on there. I'm trying to be careful and not... Okay, and there you have. There's our card. Now, you will find that as you keep securing this down, that it'll lay down better. And if you use cardstock, it won't bulk up so much. But there you go. And you could also put something a little bit heavy on it. Just make sure it's really clean because this gold will pick up anything. So we made a card today. I'll have the measurements on the blog soon, and if you forgot. And there you go. So let's just put everything out here so we can take a look. I'm just going to do the cards today. All of the other stuff you can definitely look on the blog and get a good look. And you know, it's a good thing to do different fun folds too if you want. Sometimes I get in a rut and just use the same basic plan, but I kind of like to branch out at Christmas time. So I want to thank you so much for stopping by. And again, just look at the blog, and I hope this next week will be a little more settled for me, and I can post things each day so that we don't have this big long session. So thank you so much for stopping by, and have a great day. Bye now.